To, to really understand, manage, maximize, and squeeze every opportunity of the time you have to fully understand and appreciate how much of it you have available to you. You must first take control of your time, not allow others to do so. If you listen to people discuss the topic of time, especially in regards to the amount they have at work, you will probably hear a lot of complaining. People act as though work is something to get through, yet in reality, they spend very little of their time even doing it. Most people only work enough so that it feels like work, whereas successful people work at a pace that gets such satisfying results that work is a reward. Truly successful people don't even call it work. For them it is a passion. Why? Because they do enough to win. An easy way to achieve balance is to simply work harder while you are at the office. This would not just leave you with more time, it would allow you to experience the rewards of your job and make it feel less like work and more like success. Try to take this approach. Be grateful to go to work and see how much you can get done in the time you have. Make it a race, a challenge. Make it fun. The first thing to do when managing time and seeking balance is to decide what is important to you. In which areas do you most want to achieve success and in what quantities? Write those down in order of importance, then determine the total amount of time you have available and decide where you are going to allot time to each of these endeavors. Another vital thing to do, look how you are spending your time daily. I mean every single second. This will allow you to see all the ways in which you waste your time. The little habits and activities that in no way contribute to your success. Any action that is not adding wood to your fire will be considered wasteful. Think Xbox, online broker, watching television, napping, drinking, taking smoking breaks. The potential list is endless. Brutal, isn't it? Yes, it is, but if you don't manage your time, I promise that you will waste it. Of course, things will change throughout the course of your life and career. You get older, you achieve and then generate different things and people enter your world. All of these changes require that you continue to modify your priorities. For example, I listed for years I listened for years to parents who told me that I did not understand how to balance work with family life because I did not have children of my own. When I recently had my first child, most assuredly an event that demands more of my time, and was able to experience this for myself. What I found was not a problem with balance or work, but rather a solution based on priorities. My daughter merely gave me another reason to create success, not an excuse to avoid working more. She is sheer motivation for me to do well because now I am doing it for her as well as for myself. You cannot blame your family for keeping you from creating the success you desire. They should be the reason why you want to succeed. It might seem difficult, but there are ways to make it work. Get yourself and your family members on a schedule that allows you to do those things that are priority for you. For example, my solution was to add 1 hour to each of my days in order to spend time with my daughter. My wife and I, my wife and I met and created a schedule that would allow me to have time with my daughter and my wife and not negatively impact the work schedule that provides our financial success. The first thing my wife and I did was build our daughter's sleep schedule around our priorities. We agreed that I would get up 1 hour earlier each day and take my daughter on an outing outing each morning. This would ensure that I would have quality time when I am home with my daughter before I go to the office and become consumed by the day's events. It also would allow my wife some extra time to sleep. I have been doing this since my daughter was about 6 months old, and it works beautifully. I take her on errands with me, such as going to the local grocery store each morning and introducing her to the people who work there. When I get back from our outing, the rest of the day is going to produce in the business world uninterrupted because then my wife and I are able to spend quality time together as a couple. We understand that this system will continue to change as my daughter grows up and that alternation will have to be made. However, the point is that we are controlling our time rather than just haphazardly trying to manage it. Our decision to set priorities and commit to a solution let us be the bosses of our time. The busier you become, the more you have to manage, control, and prioritize. Although I don't have some scientific formula that will magically make this easier. I can tell you one thing. If you start with a commitment to success and then agree to control time, you will create an agenda that command, com, com, command, commandates all you want. Accommodates accommodates all you want. You have to decide how you are going to use your time. You must command, control, and squeeze every second out of it in order to increase your footprint and dominate the marketplace. Get everyone, necessarily your family, colleagues, associates, employees, to recognize and agree upon which priorities are most important. If you don't do this, you will have people with different agendas pulling you in all sorts of directions. My schedule works for me because everyone in my life, from my wife to the people who work with me, knows what is most important to me and understands how I value time. This allows us to handle everything else that comes our way. In our culture, we are frequently encouraged to slow down, relax, take it easy, find balance, and just be happy with where we are and what we have. Although this can sound great in theory, it can be very difficult for people who abandon every decision to be in control of their lives. Most people cannot simply relax and take it easy, since they never do enough to free themselves of the eager. existence that comes as a result of mediocre actions. Work should provide a purpose, a mission, and a sense of accomplishment. These things are vital to every single person's mental, emotional, and physical well-being. People who promote the new age esoteric advice to take it slow are encouraging a mindset that isn't doing anyone any good. Consider the types of threats this thinking has created in people: laziness, procrastination, a lack of urgency, sloth, a tendency to blame others, irresponsibility, entitlement, and the expectation that it is up to someone else to solve our problems. Wake up, no one is going to save you, no one is going to take care of your family or your retirement, no one is going to make things work out for you. The only way to do so is to utilize every moment of every day at 10x levels. This will ensure that you accomplish your goals and dreams. Happiness, security, confidence, and fulfillment come from utilizing your gifts and energy to achieve whatever you are decided is success for you, and it requires every bit of your time, which is yours and only yours to control. How much time are you at work each day? Hours. How much time do you spend on wasteful activities every day? Example: watching television, smoking, drinking, oversleeping, getting coffee, having lunches or meetings with no business opportunities. A lot. What are some of your own time wasters? Online. Online. What has this chapter taught you about time? If I would not, would not control it, it, it will be wasteful. Mm. Chapter 18. Criticism is a sign of success. Although getting criticized is certainly not the best feeling in the world, I have a great news. Receiving criticisms is a surefire sign that you are well on your way. Criticism is not something that you want to avoid, rather, it is what you must expect to come your way once you start hitting it big. Criticism is defined as the judgment of the merits and faults of the work or actions of one individual by another. Although criticizing does not necessarily mean to imply fault, the word is often taken to mean disapproval. The dictionary fails to include the following helpful bit of information. When you start taking the right amount of action and therefore creating success, criticism is often not far behind. Of course, most people don't like being criticized. However, I have found that it comes as natural results of getting attention. This may be why some people avoid attention in the first place, as an attempt to dodge judgment. However, there is no way to achieve serious levels of success without getting some attention. Yes, people will eye you and make it clear that they disapprove of what you are doing. Let us face it, no matter what choices you make in life, someone is going to criticize you somewhere along the way. Would not would not you rather receive it from people who are jealous of your success than from your family, boss, or bill collector for not taking enough action? You receive from people who are jealous of your success than from your family, boss, or bill collector enough action. When you start taking enough action, it would not be long before you are judged by people who are not taking any. If you are generating substantial success, people will start to pay attention to you. Someone will admire you. Someone will want to learn from you. But unfortunately, most will envy you. These are the people whose excuses for not doing enough will morph into reasons why what you are doing is wrong. You need to expect and anticipate this as one of the signs of success. It will come when you start really craning, craning, cranking, cranking, cranking at 10x levels, often before your accomplishment is even evident. Beware. This criticism can come in many forms. It may first show up as advice from others. Why are you spending so much energy on that one client? He never buys anything, or you should enjoy life more. It is not all work, you know. These are the kinds of things that people say to you to make themselves feel better because your abundance highlights their deficiency. Remember, success is not a popularity contest. It is your duty, obligation, and responsibility. A body of mine who is a body of mine who is a fence business in Louisiana once admitted to me, Grant, I don't want attention. The minute I get it, competitors start coming after me. I want to fly under the radar so no one knows what I am doing. Although that is certainly one way to approach success, you cannot fly under the radar for too long and expect to ever make it to the top. Laying low in order to avoid attention and consequently and consequently criticisms probably means that you are holding yourself back to some degree. Your fear of being attacked is keeping you from going for it completely. However, once the naysayers realize and acknowledge that you are not going away and that your success is something they should imitate, not judge, they will give up and find someone else to pick on. Weak and overwhelmed individuals respond to other success by attacking it. The moment you elect to dominate or acquire territory, you run the risk of becoming a target for these people. You see this in politics constantly. When neither side has a real solution, they merely criticize and lay onto one another. And that does not does not do anyone any good. Criticisms of any individual or group should signal to the recipient that the person flinging mud is threatened by the entity he or she is belittling. People who habitually disparage others like this usually do not have solution to their situations except to degrade other players. The only way to handle criticisms is to foresee it as an element of your success formula. Much like fear, it is a sign that you are making the right moves in the right volumes, getting enough attention and making enough of splash. One of my clients recently called my company to complain that my staff had been following up with him too aggressively. I called to ask him what the problem was. After listening to him millig, mullig, mullig my employees for doing what was essentially their job, I said, knock it off. They are simply doing what they know is right because they know we can help. The fact that you have not made a decision to move forward and pull the trigger is what should be criticized here. But I will refrain from doing so because it would not do either of us any good. Now let us stop the negativity and do something positive to move your company forward. I then rewarded my staff for aggressively following up with the client. Receiving complaints about too much follow-up is an indication that my staff is moving in the right direction. I refuse to allow this client's protest to stop us and supported my staff in their effort. We all understand that criticism is a part of the success cycle, and I would not apologize for any employee of mine who is seeking success. And in case you were wondering, we did close the deal. This very same client now tells people with admiration and praise that those guys follow up like maniacs. When I finished college, I got a full-time sales job rather than taking a position in area in which I had received my degree. Within a couple of years, my sales results had taken me to the top 1% of all the salespeople in that industry, and way ahead of the people with whom I worked directly. And if you think they did not criticize me, well, think again. Of course they did. They made jokes about me, poked fun, tried to distract me, and even tried to convince me to cease the very actions that had gotten me to where I was. That is what lower performers do. They make others wrong for doing what is necessary in order to make themselves feel okay about doing nothing. The highest performers, the winners, respond by studying successful people and duplicating success. They train themselves to reach top performers level because the lower performers are not willing to step up and take responsibility to increase their production. They can only seek to tear down those who are performing at higher levels. When my book, If You Are Not First, You Are Last, hit the New York Times bestseller list, some of my supposed competitors immediately began criticizing me. One person called the book's title arrogant. Another asked who does Cardone thinks he is. Yet another suggested that I was getting too big for my own good. One person even called me to tell me to call called me to called call 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 called me called not called me to tell me to get a new editor because he claimed that the grammar was wrong. Did I pay attention to any of these comments? Not for a second. I had a New York Times bestseller. From what I can tell, criticism precedes admiration. And like it or not, goes hand in hand with success. Okay. Keep pouring on the success, and sooner or later, the very same people who were putting you down will be admiring you for what you have done. Those who initially judged your actions will later be signing your praises. Yes, as long as you take the criticism as a sign of your growing success and keep the accelerator on your actions at 10x. After all, what better way to retaliate against criticism than to keep succeeding, successing, succeeding. أيوة. Half a minute. Your stream will stop immediately and you will no longer be alive. End.